Mamma mia!
Jesus Christ, superstar, what is that?
It's just me, Logan. I've taken this form because I didn't want to be too invasive.
You very much did not succeed. What you doing, Logan?
Well, determining what feels right or wrong for you isn't really my area of expertise. Seeing how there's not much left at stake at this juncture, and that regret, unfortunately, is a process that can't be expedited, I decided that I need not expend too much energy on this matter. However, I felt that it would behoove all parties involved if I provided relevant information to serve as supporting evidence to any of the arguments that are made during today's discussion.
Neato! So you're making your little factoids optional this time around.
Facts. Factoid is a term coined by Norman Miller to describe false facts invented for magazines in order to manipulate their readers. And yes, I suppose they could be viewed as optional, your two options being informed or ignorant.
Oh, I've got this one, guys. I'm just kidding. Roman, you shouldn't push people's buttons. Enough joking around, Roman. Go on, Logan.
Jesus Christ, superstar.
Thank you, Thomas.
Oh! Guess I won't be wrestling a hot dog away from Logan. Cause he thanked me? I'm sorry. Please go ahead, Logan. Oh, holy hero, we gotta read. It would be an estimated annual cost of $20 billion to eliminate homelessness in the United States, according to Mark Johnston, lost all that. Okay, Americans spend more than $20 billion on Christmas decorations and flowers every year, so it would seem that many Americans do have the currency to spare to end homelessness. And even if I can't change things on my own, something as little as briefly helping a greatly troubled, prodigious actor would still give me more pleasure than the tyrant who is currently occupying said kingdom. Like, if the person in Roman's scenario saved the kingdom just because it made them feel good, then no one would argue that they aren't a good person. Well, I mean, maybe not. Am I not allowed to feel good if I do something good? Well, of course you are. That's just not why you do it. Constructive criticism, maybe not depict scenarios where my friends die. Okay, I'm really not trying to argue with you, Patton, but you said everyone knows that it's right to save innocent people when you can. Is that not always true? Well, not when it's like that. It's never okay to hurt an innocent person. So that rule trumps the other rule. Roman! You know we don't like to use the T word in person.
Oh my gosh.
Patton, my blinds!
I am so sorry.
Did you break my blinds?
I popped up too close there.
Oh, what would a real philosopher think about what I'm saying here?
Well, Friedrich Nietzsche really wouldn't have been thrilled with anything you've had to say. Primarily because pity seems to be at the center of your idea of putting good into the world.
That's not what
Nietzsche famously rejected the notion that pity was a virtue. He once claimed that pity runs counter to the instincts that preserve and enhance the value of life. So Thomas is...
Well, you kind of
have a difference of opinion on this one, Patton.
Thank you, Logan.
I'm sure we're all familiar with the somewhat tired metaphor for self-care. You must put on your own oxygen mask before helping your fellow passenger. An analogy that warns against the practice of helping others with their personal issues when you yourself are in need of help.
I do need help.
It's ironic that illustration's so overused at this point because it has almost become as easy to tune out that advice as it is to tune out the actual safety instructions on a flight. Easy and very dangerous. In the event that a plane cabin becomes depressurized, you do not have long to secure your oxygen mask before you risk your oxygen saturation levels dropping too much, leading to hypoxia, which is just insufficient oxygen for life functions. Hypoxia's symptoms can include an inability to communicate, confusion, unconsciousness, and possible death.
3 out of 4 of those are normal for me. Do I have hypoxia right now?
Having heard a piece of information before does not give you license to ignore it in the future, especially when the consequences of forgetting are so perilous.
Logan, I completely agree with you. But I really don't see how that relates to what we're talking about. Yeah, Logan, like you said earlier, this isn't really your area of expertise. Patton never said Thomas couldn't help himself, especially in a situation as dire as putting on his oxygen mask in a ground-bound plane. Of course I wouldn't say that. I've agreed in the past that Thomas should take the time to make sure he's doing okay and to temporarily put himself first if he needs to.
And just like all of the moral dilemmas we've been discussing, it can seem easy to confidently state what you would do in a difficult situation without legitimately knowing how you would behave when your instincts take over. In theory, you believe Thomas can and should take some time to care for himself, but every point you've made in today's discussion has contradicted that sentiment.
What? No,
What?
How? I don't think video games versus community service is a threat to Thomas taking care of himself.
Nearly every answer Patton has given to the moral questions throughout this discussion has suggested that a moral life is a life without spending surplus capital and time on leisure activities. Dr. Robert A. Stebbins defined leisure as activity engaged in during free time which people want to do and actually do in either a satisfying or a fulfilling way or both. Leisure means experiencing freedom. It's your time and you do what you want with it, which in turn contributes to a feeling of control and improved self-esteem. A lack of control and self-esteem are two factors that you all now understand can worsen Thomas's relationship with intrusive thoughts, and they have. Additionally, Drs. Iwasaki, Messina, and Hopper wrote that leisure time promotes a joyful life. And if that isn't enough, pleasurable activities stimulate the production of neurochemicals which can then improve one's physical health. Leisure is something that Thomas needs more of in his life in order to feel like he has a life. And Patton is essentially suggesting that Thomas isn't being as good of a person as he'd like him to be if he doesn't sacrifice his life for others.
Whoa! That is not what I said.
Oh, is it not? Please, correct me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong!
So if it was between Thomas's life or another's, you don't think Thomas should give his life up?
Whoa,
Oh, and this other person is an innocent little lamb.
Okay,
Or how about a group of innocents?
I don't... Actually, I would like to know, Patton. What should Thomas do in that kind of...
You don't know? Earlier you suggested that all people naturally understand right and wrong. So, should Thomas die so that others may live? Enough! This isn't working. This entire conversation has become so muddled due to a constant, misleading misuse of conscientious language. You'll need a sharp side to cut through all this bull. Frog. A sort of subterfuge specialist. Oh, shit. Not that any of you care, but I am unharmed, and I don't want to talk about it. I'm just here to deliver one last fact, then I will do you all a favor and spare you my company.
Oh, Logan,
Peter Singer is an Australian philosopher and activist who champions the movement known as effective altruism. The primary feature that differentiates effective altruism from other moral philosophies is its practicality. It employs the heart and the mind so that effective altruism can earn its namesake and actually be effective. The aim is to help as many people as possible while maintaining a perfectly adequate standard of living. So, a poor, sick person giving 5 of their last 15 cents to an aid organization, while incredibly altruistic, is not effective altruism because that money won't go very far, and the act would only harm that person's already unacceptable standard of living. Fellow effective altruist William McCaskill recommends that people who can, and are inclined to, should go into fields like banking or finance because more money earned means more money to give.
Right, like I said, I need to give myself a buff so that I can better help others.
And you need to maintain an adequate standard of living. You can't forget that part. If the variety of generosity that you subscribe to leaves you feeling depressed or like your life isn't your own, then you need to reevaluate things.
What do you know? If it came down to video